This is former Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver J.J. Birden.
Former Mizzou Tiger Marcus Golden.
And you're watching the Outsider Sports Show.
And welcome to a very special edition of the Outsider Sports Show, available exclusively, of course, on the Great American Sports Network. Our guest at this time, he is a multiple offender here on the Outsider Sports Show. We've had him on a bunch of times. It's J.J. Birden, the former Chief, former NFL great, and he's got a new book coming out, guys. When Opportunity Knocks, 8 Surefire Ways to Take Advantage. JJ, how's everything going, man? How's it feel now that the book's all wrapped up and you're getting ready to get it out there? It's available for pre-order on your website right now, as I understand.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, it's great to connect with you guys again. I always love coming on the show. I love what you guys are doing, and no, it's a sigh of relief because I started this project. I think it was January 2014, and it's nice to have it finally completed. And I'm very impressed with the finished project, and I think everybody's going to love it. I definitely think people are going to get a lot of value out of it.
Well, what can you tell us about Marty Schottenheimer endorsing the book and Al Saunders writing the foreword? That's got to be huge for you to get those two names to endorse such a great book that you're putting out.
Yeah, it really was, because as I put my wish list together, Marty and Al were in my top 3, and Joe Montana was in there, but didn't get reached. Joe's kind of a busy man these days, but that's okay, because I got to coach Marty Schottenheimer, who drafted me in Cleveland, and I spent, 6 of my 9 years in the NFL with Marty, and then having Al Saunders, who I just learned a great deal from when I was with the Chiefs. I think he really took my career and took it to the next level with his coaching and so forth. So I thought, what better two individuals to have to endorse my book. And it was really neat because Al Saunders, he wrote this very powerful foreword. I mean, he wrote the foreword for the book, and I read it, and I just said, wow. And he goes, what do you think? I go, that's perfect. So I think everyone will enjoy it.
Well, it's absolutely. We've got it pre-ordered here, and we guys want to make sure everyone knows that it is available on jjburden.com to go pre-order the book. I believe it ships out just here in a few weeks, here in June 10th, I believe. So definitely make sure you go and pre-order the book. And I want to get into it because, I mean, the theme of the book is seizing opportunity. You're known as an opportunity guy. You're an opportunity coach. You're able to coach people in this way. Let's talk about the opportunity that you yourself seized as a 5'10", barely 150-pound player. I believe the smallest player in the NFL at the time. Is that kind of what you base most of the book around? Is your, of course, 9-year NFL career and being such a small player, but being able to take the opportunity that you got and run with it?
Yeah, that's definitely a main part of it, but it kind of goes back to my high school days and then into the college days, and just always constantly being told, you're too small, you can't do this, you're too small, you're not big enough, and just so much, I don't want to say negativity, but just so many people that doubted my ability, and that was always the fuel that I used to go to the next step. It's so funny, too, guys, because I never planned to play in the NFL. It was just to prove those college coaches that I could play Division I, and I get to Oregon. Then it was to prove everyone I could get to the NFL, and so I'm all about trying to emphasize the importance of maximizing your opportunities. And many times people want things, and for whatever reason, they don't go after them, maybe because they have self-doubt, maybe they have some that are a little bit negative and don't believe in them and kind of shatter their dreams. And so I want to take them through this journey where I'm sharing 8 principles that I have used throughout my life that has helped me to seize multiple opportunities and make the best out of them. So, when you're 5'10", 153, 57 pounds, you definitely have a lot of people that doubt your abilities. But the principles that I share are going to help people to just, don't worry what other people are saying around you. How bad do you want it, and how hard are you willing to go get it?
And what, and going into the theme of the book, the ways to seize opportunity, how many people do you talk to and do you come across that you feel like that they think it's too late? They've gone through their lives, they've had jobs, they've done things that, are okay, but maybe not satisfactory to them. Do you come across a lot of people that feel like it's too late? And what would you have to say to people, that are later on in age? Like, hey, it's never too late. Keep seizing. Like, what's kind of your message when it comes to just seizing opportunity in general?
Yeah, and you're right. I've met so many people over my life who have, who wanted something, but for whatever reason they didn't go after it. They felt that maybe it was too late. They couldn't do it. They don't have the ability, and it's disappointing too. Because even as an athlete, I saw so many athletes I met, or maybe was in camp with me, I played with, or I knew who had amazing potential, and amazing abilities, but they didn't take advantage of those opportunities. And so the thing that I like to stress, and I hit this in my very first chapter, which is called What's Your Passion? And it's really all about what's important to you. What do you want? What excites you? What gets you fired up? What motivates you? Because first you got to find out what it is you want so that you know what is the right opportunity to seize. And then it's about, once you know what it is, then you got to create the plan. You got to put some kind of plan together and how you're going to achieve that. Then I talk about, then you got to review the plan to make sure it is the right plan. Then you got to go out there and execute the plan. And a lot of that has to do with our belief system. If we don't believe in ourselves, then there's no way we can go after inner opportunity. So one of my chapters, I talked about the importance of having a mentor. I mean, the value of associating yourself with someone who's traveled the road that you want to go down. There's no substitute for experience. And there's many times throughout my journey, I always latched on to a mentor. I can remember when I got to KC. You know who my mentor was? It was Stephon Payne.
Oh, yes.
Stephon was an experienced veteran wide receiver. I thought I could learn so much from this guy. And I remember just picking his brain nonstop. And I remember when things turned, when I became the veteran, and I would always try to mentor these younger guys too. So, but yeah, I tell everyone, if you know what you want, put your plan together, and then go execute it.
That's beautiful stuff, JJ. And we know you talk about woulda, coulda, shoulda with people, and the worst thing in life is regret. Have you faced anything in your life that you look back on and regret? We know you have so many opportunities you've taken advantage of, but is there that one thing out there that you regret?
Yeah, I think we all have regrets, unfortunately, and I've tried to do my best to minimize those regrets. But yeah, there's things that we probably wish we had done a little differently. I guess my biggest regret for athletics would have been the fact that I didn't get to finish my senior year at Oregon in track and field, because I was there on a track scholarship. I was, Pac-10 champion in long jump. I was qualified for the Olympic trials. This was the big year, and then I got drafted and I tore up my ACL, and it would have been really nice to just, my track coach, Bill Dillinger, said, when you go to rookie camp, he said, don't do any drills. And I go, Bill, I never get hurt at these things. Third practice, I tear up my ACL. So I guess my regret is that I should have just went to rookie camp and did not do the drills, came back and finished my track season, then I could have went right to the NFL without any regrets. But, things kind of worked out pretty good because I stretched that knee injury into a 9-year NFL career. Yeah. So that's not too bad.
Didn't do too bad for yourself, JJ. And I know there's a lot of Chiefs fans. They're going to want to check this book out. But this is more far-reaching than just the world of athletics. I mean, this is compatible to any walk of life, any goal, any dream. I mean, would that be accurate?
Yeah, that would be very, very accurate. I wanted to write this book in a way that it wasn't just all about, sports or playing football or, anything athletic-wise. I mean, that is a component, but I wanted people to understand that whether it's your family life, your personal life, the business world, I mean, it could be anything that you're striving after that's important to you. That's an opportunity, So whatever that is, I wanted to make sure that this book would reach all different audiences, all different age brackets, and I believe I achieved that. There's a lot of stories in there. I mean, obviously there's some athletic stories, there's some family stories, there's some personal stories. So I really tried to mix it up so that, whoever read the book would definitely get the value out of it. And as I read the final edited version, I can see that I think I accomplished my goal, so it's something for everyone.
Well, JJ, what are some of your favorite quotes about opportunity and taking advantage? There's so many out there. We know you post a lot on Twitter. What are some that have kind of struck you and helped you push through and take advantage of all those opportunities?
Yeah, that's right. There's so many of them out there. And it's funny because when I wrote this book, I used some of them, and then I actually use my own. I have quite a few in there that I have in each chapter. Like, for instance, when I have a chapter, like, for instance, chapter 5 is titled, chapter 5 is titled, Working Hard in the Right Direction. And then the quote that I used to represent that was, find your competitive advantage and exploit it. And so it was a kind of sending the message that, because a lot of people out there work hard. Let's say you just work hard to do something, but if you're not working in the right direction or you're not doing the right things, ultimately you still may not hit the goal no matter how hard you're working. So I encourage people in this chapter to find out what your competitive advantage is. What is it? Maybe it's your speaking ability. Maybe you're an athlete and you got great speed. Maybe you're really strong. Maybe you have great math skills. Whatever it is, find it and then exploit it. And so I share a story when I was with the Chiefs. Actually, it was more like when I was in Cleveland with the Browns my first year, how I struggled getting off of bump and run, man-to-man technique. And I remember how Hanford Dixon and Frank Minifield, these all-pro cornerbacks, were just throwing me all over the place. I mean, they were just throwing me out of bounds. And I remember Hanford saying, hey, little man, you got to do better than that. This is the NFL. And I realized that if I can't get off bump and run, at my size, there's no way I can play in the NFL. So that next year after I was cut and went to Dallas, I spent the entire offseason working on beating bump and run. And I remember I became obsessed with it, that I started naming my releases. So how I was going to release off the ball, how it would be the DB. So by the time I got to KC in 90 in that camp, I remember no one could get their hands on me. I had no problem beating press. And I know that's one of the reasons why I was able to play as long as I did. So that was one of the quotes that I used, find that competitive advantage and exploit it.
Well, that's great stuff. And, I'm a big proponent in everything that you do and everything that you're talking about. I think this is just wonderful information for anyone, for young athletes, for young people trying to get in the world of business, anything like that. I think it's wonderful. And again, guys, we're talking to former Chiefs wide receiver, former Atlanta Falcons wide receiver, JJ Birden. And JJ, I think you get back to Kansas City here and there. Let's talk about that. Kind of your relationship with the organization today. I think you were back last football season. They had kind of one of the games they honored some of the former veterans. Talk about your relationship with the Kansas City Chiefs now, and kind of looking back, how some of your memories just dating back and how it relates to your life now, and coming back and being able to meet with some of your old teammates and some of the current brass of the organization.
Yeah, that's an exciting component that I really never realized. I didn't think that, once you retire from the NFL, that you would continue to have a relationship with one of the organizations you spend most of your time with. I just never visualized that, but it's so nice to see that Clark Hunt and the Chief organization, they really open up their arms to us alumni, and they remind us that we're part of the foundation, we're part of the history, and that those relationships are still intact. So it's nice every year to go back and see all the guys and see the staff and see whatever, coaches are there, and just kind of familiarize yourself with that environment, because there was an exciting time of our life. And so with that, and then you got social media, so you can connect with all the different players and stay in the loop and see what they're doing. And we're just all kind of like one big family, or one big fraternity, so to speak. So it's nice, because I tell people that, hey, I didn't have a Hall of Fame career. I wasn't this all-pro, but I had a nice 9-year quiet career. And it's nice to be remembered by one of the teams that gave you your shot, and that definitely is the Kansas City Chiefs. So I'm very loyal to those guys, and I follow them. I mean, I have a soft spot for the Browns because they drafted me, and maybe a soft spot for the Falcons because they gave me those last years. But when it comes down to it, I'm a Kansas City Chief.
And that's funny you talk about family and fraternity, and that's exactly what led us originally a couple years ago to get a hold of you, as Noah and I, just two huge fans of the organization, two huge fans of the Chiefs, and recalling your playing days with such great memories. I mean, just that era in and of itself is another conversation in and of itself, and we've talked about it before, and what those years meant, and the foundation that you guys laid, and that's what led us to get a hold of you to begin with. And we cannot be, we're so glad we did, because connecting with you got such a positive attitude, such a guy that you're always, you tweet back with the fans, you talk to the fans on social media. I think that's great. And JJ, this book is a huge step, and I just wish you all the success. I think this book's gonna be really good, man. I know you're excited. Would you call it a labor of love? Is it too early to use that cliche? That J.J. Birden, a labor of love, is that kind of what it was for you?
Yeah, that's what my wife kind of says. My wife was into writing a blog. She goes, "I'm going to write a blog about what I saw as far as you writing the book," and it was kind of a labor of love because it's something I always wanted to do. And I'll tell you guys, and I think I even talk about this in chapter 1. I remember when I was in the NFL, I always talked about writing a book because I knew that I was different. I wasn't like your typical football player, and I had kind of a story. And I remember taking notes and so forth, and just having ideas of what I might write about. And then as I've gotten older and gotten into different things, it's kind of, my message has kind of evolved, but I knew it was something I wanted to get down on paper. But I never wrote a book. I didn't know much about it. Fortunately, I had a great mentor, Dr. Will Moreland, who kind of has walked me through the process. And the proudest aspect is these are my words. I wrote it. There's no, ghostwriter. It's me. And I think that when people read it, they're going to be able to read it from my perspective. It's my words, my thoughts, and I'm excited about it.
So excited to get our hands on the book, JJ. Guys, again, go to jjburden.com. You'll see all of JJ's links and ways to get a hold of him, contact info, and a link to buy the book. Definitely do that. Is it going to be available on any other medium, as it comes out on Amazon, anything like that we could point people towards?
Yeah, definitely. The first phase is going to be available at our site, but eventually it'll be available everywhere. We'll definitely have it out there, so there's many different ways to get it. And I like what you said a little earlier, and part of it, my drive to do this was because of the fans. I get to connect with so many people on social media, which is so cool because that's not something we got to do back in the day, and now you can do that. So this is kind of one of my ways to be able to give back to the fans on, here's a little bit what's going on in our world and what happened, and here's some lessons you can learn along the way.
Well, JJ, that's great. We're so thankful again to connect with you. So glad we were able to form a relationship with you here on the Outsider Sports Show. We cannot thank you enough. All the success in the world, JJ, on the book. We'll be linking it.
And thanks for all you do, JJ. All you've done for us, all you've done for the fans, and it's really great.
Well, thank you, guys. I appreciate you guys too, and it means a lot. There's a mutual benefit here. We get to connect with each other. You get to hear my perspective. I get to hear your perspective, and it's always nice that you guys are another voice. Because there's so many voices out there saying this, that, and the other. But I like the message that you guys are conveying. So keep up the good work.
Absolutely, you as well, JJ. All the success, and we'll definitely be in touch. And good luck on everything. And we'll definitely be in touch, my man.
All right, guys. Take care.
Thanks a lot.
You too.